So our yoga today is going to include some strengthening for the ankles. We're not going to do anything on the floor. We will be in the chair and standing using the chair for balance. So we're going to start off with strengthening our ankles. So we're going to write our names in cursive, starting with the right foot. And then you're going to see if you can do the same thing with your other foot. This is my non-dominant side, so I can't write left-footed either. So write your name with both feet in cursive, first name, and then we're going to do it again, this time last names. So we're just trying to get some mobility in the ankles and warm up the feet a little bit. So if you've had a bone break, fibula, metatarsals, and that is healed, this is a great rehab. So you're going to write your name first and last with both feet, and then we're going to go to some more strengthening, just tapping the toes. So start just by pulling the right toes off the ground. So you're trying to get the ball of the feet off the floor, so we're just keeping the heel grounded. And we'll do the same thing with the other side. So while we are strengthening our ankles, let's also see if we can soften the shoulders and let the breath flow. For now, we can go in through the nose and out through the mouth. Long, big, relaxing exhale. So we tapped one foot at a time. Now we're going to try to alternate. In through the nose, long, big exhale, out through the mouth. One more time like that. In through the nose, long and slow, out through the mouth. Good. So now we're going to change our breath. So we're breathing in and out through our nose. We're going to stand up and use that chair for balance. So that chair is always there for support. We can decide whether we want to hold on with both hands or two fingers or one finger, whatever is just right for us. So we're going to start with the feet grounded hip width apart, and we'll raise the heel away from the ground. Now you can decide how high you want to go. We want to make sure that there's not a wobble, right or left. So if we feel a wobble, perhaps next time we go a little less high. We'll connect the breath to that as well, inhaling up and exhaling down. So in and out through the nose now. One more time, inhaling up and exhaling down. Now I'm going to put the chair behind me because this is just going to be a reminder that we push our bottom back as we move into our chair pose. So we'll start off in our mountain, our feet are hip width apart. Let's pull our shoulders back and down, draw the belly in, bring our palms facing forward. Micro bend in the knees, and we'll just start by flowing the arms. So inhaling, arms up. I should have moved that plant. And exhale, arms down. So just facing this way so I don't hit the plant every time. Inhaling up, exhaling down. And we're going to add a little knee bend as we inhale up and exhale down. Again, in and out through the nose. One more time, inhaling up and exhaling down. So now we're going to practice that chair. So just getting the sense of how far we bend our knees, where the weight is on our feet. So we should be able to wiggle our toes. If we glance down, we should notice that our knees are tracking toward the middle of our feet. Let's pull our belly in a little bit to keep our back safe, and then we can decide how deep of a knee bend we take here so that our knees stay happy. So we'll inhale our arms up and exhale into our chair. So hands are going to sweep around and land at the heart. We'll try that again, inhaling up, exhale, sinking down, and one more time, inhaling up, exhale, hands to our heart, pushing our bottom back into our chair pose. And we'll meet back, standing tall in our mountain. Our shoulders are soft, down away from our ears, belly gently pulled in. And we'll feel that breath flow in and out through the nose. We're going to add a little bit to that chair flow. And we're going to bring, trying to avoid this plant here. I'm putting the chair in front of me now because it's going to help me in my forward fold so I don't have to go all the way to the floor, and so I can keep my back safe. So the forward fold, we inhale, arms up, and we exhale, bend at the knees, hinge the hips, and swan dive until either our hands or our forearms are on the chair. And to come out of it, we'll take a deeper knee bend and circle our hands again out to the side, reversing our swan dive, and we'll exhale, arms to the sides into our mountain. So we'll connect the forward fold, the chair, and the mountain pose in a little chair flow. So start by just checking in with the posture. We're standing nice and tall in our mountain. We'll inhale, arms overhead, and exhale, swan dive into our forward fold. We'll take a deeper knee bend, reverse that swan dive, inhaling up and exhaling to chair. So hands sweep around, land at our heart, and the weight is in our heels. Again, inhaling up and exhaling, arms by our sides into mountain. We'll do that a few times. Inhaling up, exhale, swan dive into our forward fold. A little bit more of a bend in the knee, reverse that swan dive up, and exhale to chair. Inhaling, arms overhead, and exhaling to mountain. And one more time through. Inhaling up, exhale, swan dive into our forward fold. Pull the belly in, protecting the back. Bending the knees a little more, reversing that swan dive. On our exhale, we'll sink into chair. And inhaling up and exhaling to mountain. And finding that length in our spine and the shoulders soft down away from the ears. And feeling the breath flow in and out through the nose. We're going to sit back down in our chair now for a cat and cow and chest expansion. So we probably want to be closer to the edge of our chair. We'll pull our shoulders back and down. And then we're going to push our heart forward and pull our shoulder blades together a little bit more. Our hands can lie wherever they're comfortable. So maybe we pull them a little closer to our hips as our elbows push back a bit. And then from our cow into our cat, we're going to pull our belly button in and really tuck the tailbone under, drop our chin toward our chest, and let fingertips reach away from us. So we feel those shoulder blades pull away from each other. We'll flow a few times between our cat and our cow, inhaling for cow, and exhaling for cat. So just a visual from the side, inhaling for cow, and exhaling for cat. If we have a desk job, this is a good stretch to work in during the day. Inhaling for cow, exhaling for cat. And we'll move to a chest expansion as well. Again, if we have a desk job and we're doing lots of sitting, we want to get out of that chair and stand as much as possible. But chest expansion we could do from our desk chair. So we would just pull our shoulder blades back and down and reach behind us. So if the chair is not too narrow, we can even push and engage the muscles in the upper back. So when we don't have a chair, I often say squeeze an imaginary beach ball. But if we have something here and we'd like to squeeze it, we can do that. If we're ready for getting out of that chair, if we've been sitting for a long time at our desk job, then we want to do our chest expansion from standing. So then we can just squeeze the imaginary beach ball between our hands. So careful that our chin didn't go forward, that the ear is floating over the shoulders. We open across the shoulders and chest, pushing forward with the heart and pulling the shoulder blades together and down. We'll come out of that chest expansion anytime we feel tightness in the shoulders, in the chest. Cat and cow, chest expansion, and a shoulder roll are great to do. So with the shoulder roll, we just inhale up, exhale back and down. So just getting some mobility in those shoulders. Inhaling up, exhale back and down. One more like that. Breath in and breath out. We're going to get out of our chair now, but we're still going to use it for support as we move into a high lunge. So we're going to step our right foot back. Notice all 10 toes are pointing toward the short edge of the mat. So the belly's pulled in, our eyes are facing forward. We can hold on to the chair, again, both hands or maybe 2 fingers. So we decide what kind of support we need here and adjust it so that it's just right. Not too hard, not too easy. So that back heel is off the ground. In this high lunge, we are working that front leg a little more than we were in mountain. We have the option, if it ever feels safe and comfortable, to bring the hands away from the chair. They could be overhead, they could come to the heart, they could go into our goalpost position. So high lunge, just strengthening that front ankle, the front glutes and thigh, just because we're challenging ourselves a little bit more as we add this balance challenge by lifting the back heel. When we're ready, we can do the same thing on the other side. So we'll step the left foot back, relaxing the shoulders down away from our ears. Find comfortable length in that back leg. And choosing the options that feel best for our arms and hands based on the support we'd like. And we'll feel that breath flow in and out through our nose. And we can step back to our mountain. Feel the shoulders relax, stand nice and tall, gently drawing the belly in. And we'll go from our high lunge to our warrior 2. So we're going to step the right leg back. Now that back foot toes turn toward the long edge of the mat, and we bring our back arm parallel to the ground. We can hold on with that front hand to the chair, or if and when we're ready, we can extend both arms. So we're just softening those shoulders on the exhale, sending energy out through the fingertips, gently drawing the belly in, lifting the pelvic floor up, and soften our gaze as we look out over the fingertips of the front hand, or just out into the distance if we're holding onto the chair. And when we're ready, we can take that same pose to the other side. So we'll move to our warrior two, stepping the left foot back, toes facing the long edge of the mat. And bring that back arm parallel to the ground, checking that that front knee is tracking toward the middle of that foot. So check and see if it has accidentally rolled in toward the big toe or out toward the pinky toe, and engage the muscles in the hip to help it line up right in the middle. Again, softening shoulders on the exhale, holding onto the chair or releasing as you're comfortable. And we can step back to our mountain, standing tall again, checking in with our posture, engaging our core muscles, and feel that breath flow in and out through the nose. So now we're going to transition to two different poses to work the inner and outer part of the hips. So our first is our moonflower. So we're going to bring our feet a little bit wider than hip width apart. And our toes are turned out more than our heels. So if you're a ballet person, this is basically our second position. So we're going to bend the knees and check again that the knees are tracking toward the middle of the feet. They haven't rolled in toward the big toe or out toward the pinky toe. The tendency often is to let the knees roll in toward the big toe because these muscles in our outer hip don't get used very often. So they tend not to be as strong, and then the knees will roll in. Think about activating these muscles here. These are our hip abductors. We want to use them to open the knees so that if we glance down, we could see our big toes. Yeah. So we find that just right bend where our knees are happy. Maybe it's a little tiny bend, it could be deeper, but regardless of the bend in our knees continue to track toward the middle of our feet. So we inhale, lengthen, and exhale, bend. We can hold on to the chair the whole time if we'd like. If we want to add some arms, we can extend one arm overhead, inhaling to lengthen, exhale, bringing the elbow toward our rib cage. See if we can draw the belly in, pull the pelvic floor up. If we want to do both arms and that feels safe and comfortable, we can do that as well. We maintain that length in the spine and we just sink straight down on the exhale. One more time, inhaling up and exhaling down. If we did this with only one arm, we would just want to pause and do the same thing. I'll do it backwards, just in case. Don't want you to be lopsided. Again, we'll inhale up and exhale down. One more time, flowing, inhaling up and exhaling down. Awesome. So we just did the inside of the hips, the hip adductors. Now we're going to work the hip abductors on a little balance pose, and we want to find that just right balance, not too hard, not too easy. We feel totally safe. This is a balancing star. So we're going to shift weight toward our right foot. All 10 toes are facing the same direction. We can decide how much of a balance challenge we give ourselves here. So maybe our big toes, our big toe on that extended leg, or maybe multiple toes continue to be grounded. Careful we're not sinking into that right leg hip, but we're pulling up and out and finding length. So just holding here might be enough of a challenge. We're going to feel it in those hip abductors just to keep us steady. Belly pulls in. We can extend an arm overhead if we choose. We have the option to pull toes away from the ground, but we always have the ground to touch back down. Maybe an inhale up and an exhale down. Careful we haven't locked that grounded knee, the knee on the grounded leg. It's just a micro bend. When we're ready, we'll take the same thing to the other side. So we bring weight to the left foot, all 10 toes straight ahead. Extend the right leg out to the side, and then we can choose our balance challenge. Arm can be up or down. Careful we're not sinking into that hip, but we're pulling up and out of the hip. Belly's pulled in. Micro bend in that knee. Careful we haven't tipped the toes up toward the sky. Then we're going to feel it in the hip flexor. All 10 toes pointing straight ahead so we can feel it in those muscles that need more attention in the outside of the hip. Toes up or down. And if we get fatigued in the hip muscle faster on this side, it's okay, that's normal. We already worked it on the other side. And we'll meet back in mountain. Awesome. So that is all we have for standing. Now we're going to do some stretching, some core work, and we're going to do that seated. Oh, one more exercise with the toes. This is our toe yoga. So let's do this first. So we're going to raise the toes up and down, and then we're going to see if we can keep the 8 little toes grounded and raise and lower the big toes. We might need even to help our toes the first time just to get the feel for it. Maybe we have to hold the little ones down. And can we connect a breath to this? Inhale up, exhale down. That tiny little movement. And once that becomes a little bit easier, which might take some time, then let's see if we can keep our big toes grounded and lift the other 8. Inhale up, exhale down. And over time, as this gets easier, we can attempt to alternate. So we raise the big toes and then the little toes, big toes and little toes. We'll go back and forth there. One more time, big toes and little toes. Okay, that will come with time. So now we're gonna move to working the core. So instead of getting on the floor to do our crunches, we're gonna do them right here in the chair. We're gonna pull that belly firmly back on our exhale. So we inhale, soften, exhale, pull the belly tight. One more time on that exhale, pull the belly as firmly as you can, like it's trying to reach the spine. And then we're going to connect that abdominal movement with some movement in the upper body. So our hips are going to stay away from the back of the chair, our shoulders are touching the back of the chair, and we can make adjustments here to find that just right challenge. So the hips might be way out on the edge. That's going to be the most challenging. If we'd like to start where the hips are pretty close to the chair, that's going to be the least challenging. So find what works. The belly pulls in. On that exhale, we're going to bring our shoulders away from the chair and sit tall. So we'll inhale, lengthen. And exhale, come on back, pull the belly in. Inhale, stay still right here. Exhale, pull the belly in and sit nice and tall. Inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale, pull the belly in, sinking back. we'll do just one more. On the exhale, pull the belly in. Now we're going to add a few stretches and a little meditation. So our stretches are going to be a seated twist and a hamstring and calf stretch. So we'll start with that seated twist. So finding length in our spine. And on that exhale, we're just going to twist from the rib cage and open. So the shoulder opens, we can turn our head, maybe one hand moves to the opposite leg, but we're not going to force that twist. It's nice and easy. We'll come back to center. And exhale, gently twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, gently twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, pull the belly in, twist to the other side. And one more time to each side. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, just using the strength of our own muscle to twist. Don't force ourselves to twist more than we can naturally go. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, gently twist. And we'll come back to center. And next we'll move into that hamstring and calf stretch. So we're going to extend the right leg and we'll hinge forward at the hips, bringing the belly closer to the thighs. Support ourselves on that left leg. And if we feel length in the back of the leg, then that's great. We just hold there and breathe. If we'd like a little bit more stretch, we can pull the toes back until we feel that length and stretch lower into the calf. See if we can relax muscles in the face here, softening on the exhale. Two more long, slow breaths. We'll slowly come up and switch sides. We'll take that stretch to the other side with length in that extended leg, hinging forward at the hips. So we find length in the hamstring, the back of that extended leg. We can pull the toes back until we feel that stretch also in the calf. And softening the muscles in the face, let's take another couple of long, slow breaths. And we can slowly come out of that stretch, finding ourselves sitting comfortably. Now we're going to do a meditation here just for a couple minutes, so feel free to find your most comfortable position seated. So for me, if I'm all the way back in my chair, my feet don't reach the floor. So if you're in that position and you happen to have some blocks around, that can help you find some comfort in your seated position. So our hands can just gently rest on our legs. We find length in our spine. If it's comfortable, we can allow our eyes to close. So initially, we're just focusing on where we feel the breath. For some of us, we might feel the air going in and out through the nose. Others might feel a rise and fall in the chest or belly. Wherever it is, our attention is just going to lie on the feeling of the breath. And as our mind wanders, which it will, just as we recognize it, we just gently bring our attention back to that feeling of the breath. And slowly we can wiggle fingers and toes and open our eyes if they were closed. That is the end of our yoga practice together today. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. We'll inhale our arms up and exhale hands to our heart. Thank you.